Welcome to the SVG-TV News for Tuesday, January 25th. I'm Khalil Cato with the details. President of the SVG Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, is encouraging all teachers and other civil servants who were impacted by the government's vaccination policy to remain focused, knowing that the unions will not give up their fight to protect their rights and freedoms. The unions representing public sector workers are seeking legal redress over the government's vaccination policy, which requires teachers and several other categories of public sector workers to be vaccinated against COVID-19 if they are to continue working in their respective posts. Providing an update on the legal proceedings at a news conference today, Robinson said their ongoing fight is a commitment to ensure that the government repeals the law and that all workers who were affected by the vaccination mandate are reinstated with full benefits.
We have filed in the High Court to seek judicial review on all the wrongs that you have experienced at this time as a result of all those SR and O's and all those instructions which were given with respect to the mandatory policy. We are seeking judicial review on all those, and we are also doing it jointly by having a constitutional motion be filed against the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in respect to Section 17(7) of the Constitution of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I will not say more about that because, as you know, this matter is in the court, and we are expecting to have a hearing the 9th of next month. There's confidence in our unions, PSU, Teachers Union, and we will not give up this fight until we know that we have realized our goals. We know it's difficult for you out there, but we want you to be patient, and we will continue to work together in the interests of everybody.
Expressing concerns for the welfare of the teachers and other public sector workers who lost their jobs because of the vaccination mandate, Industrial Relations Officer of the SVG Teachers Union, Andrew John, noted that this is the second month that these persons are without a salary and are unable to meet their financial obligations.
These teachers and these public workers, public servants who would have been dismissed were persons with responsibility. They were responsible, working, contributing citizens. And so to have their lives disrupted without any cushion, anything at all to cushion them, you just shut them out, has created an atmosphere. Well, there's so many things in the mix when situations like these develop, where teachers have been left with literally nothing, been sent home without anything. And so it is the second month without their mortgages being paid, without being able to meet the monthly expenses, their monthly obligation in terms of their bills, electricity and otherwise, without being able to pay their children's school fees or feeding their children, as it were, sending them to school.
John said the vaccination mandate has also affected persons enrolled at the Division of Teaching Education at the SVG Community College and teachers who are enrolled in universities, noting that the situation has halted the progress of young people in SVG.
Some teachers who are doing their final year at whether at university or at the teachers' college, they have been prevented from entering the schools. And so even if they at the college they are not being paid, as it were, but if they are not vaccinated, they will not be allowed to complete their practicum. Similarly, it is with the university students who are in their final year. So these students have had their studies curtailed. So what we are seeing here is not just a matter of stopping a job. We are halting the progress of our people, our young people as well, who are on the, well, we like to use the word cusp of takeoff. You know, they are right at the point, they are in the final year, and these were told that they cannot continue.
Head of the Public Service Union, Elroy Boucher, also expressed concern for members affected by the vaccination mandate. Boucher spoke of a nurse whom he said took the Cuban Abdallah vaccine after the deadline had passed for her to get vaccinated. However, she was not re-employed. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves had indicated that even after the deadline had passed for frontline workers, including nurses, teachers, and police officers to get vaccinated under the statutory rules and order number 28 of 2021, once they took the jab and their post is not yet filled, they can be reinstated. At today's joint news conference with the SVG Teachers Union, Boucher said that the nurse should have retained her job, and he is sure that the post was not filled at the time.
Who has not received a dismissal letter, and she went ahead and took the Abdullah vaccine because that was the vaccine that she was comfortable taking, and she took it after the fact, of course, and would have submitted her information to the respective authorities, but yet today she has not been re-employed, although of course the Prime Minister said once you would have gone and taken the vaccine afterwards and your position is still vacant, then you will be re-employed. And we are aware, of course, that there is a nursing shortage within the system, to the extent that recently we would have seen the ad that went out for the recruitment of nursing assistant and registered nurses, and this nurse is a registered nurse. So that is a predicament. She has no way of paying her rent or of supporting her young daughter who is attending school at this time.
Boucher further expressed concern about members of the Thusian group who taught at the SVG Community College, whose application for religious exemptions were denied.
Would have stated these teachers would have sought exemption on religious grounds. Those exemptions denied simply because the college would have indicated that they cannot find suitable accommodation. But these workers are public servants, and according to, in keeping with the Transfer to Undertaking Act, they really should be retransferred into the public service. They are also in limbo. We would have heard the Prime Minister said very early that the Thusians were granted, as far as he is aware, the Thusians were granted, one of the groups that were granted exemptions. Well, that is really far from the truth, because most of these persons are the Thusians themselves. But Andrew.
The next court hearing in the union's challenge against the government's vaccination mandate is February 9th. 2 new PCR cases and 37 new rapid antigen cases have been recorded here in SVG, bringing the total number of active COVID-19 cases to 865. 24 persons in total have been hospitalized, 5 are fully vaccinated, 1 partially vaccinated, and 18 unvaccinated. That should be a total of 63,669 vaccines have been administered to date, of which 34,138 were first dose, 27,395 second dose, and 2,136 boosters. The total number of COVID-19 cases is now 6,662, with 5,705 recoveries. 92 persons have died. 2 were fully vaccinated, 1 partially vaccinated, and 89 unvaccinated. Minister of Tourism and Culture Carlos James on radio today outlined the benefits of using the metaverse to market Vincimas and dismissed claims that it will now replace the physical festival.
The conversation surrounding the metaverse relates to the ability to reach an additional market where persons who are in Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, the northwestern coast of North America, who for one reason or the other may not have heard of St. Vincent and the Grenadines or Carnival for that matter. And it is tapping into that market, millions of people who are now interested in moving into that virtual space. Yeah. And essentially that is what it is. It's an additional platform to our physical Vincimas, Not replacing what we have currently. The Vinci Mass in its physical form is something that will outlive my generation and yourself and some of the persons who are involved in Carnival. They do it for the love, because the revenue that they will generate from being in the festival or even in the creative industry really sometimes puts them at a break even. And we have to obviously find additional platforms to complement what the existing support mechanisms are here, and how we can see the revenue generating platforms for creatives.
Minister James said the metaverse should be seen as a great opportunity for local creatives to thrive, as Vinci Mass would be marketed to a larger and unusual audience that goes way beyond our geographical borders, who may have not yet heard about Vinci Mass or SVG on a whole, thus opening the possibility of strengthening the economy.
It's really where you can stay in Japan, you connect to an AR streaming, and you can physically immerse yourself into a reality which puts you in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So you're in Japan, but you will have the visual of Backstreet, you will have the visual of masqueraders partying, you will have the visual of being in a soca monarch or a concert, but not physically present. And this is where you actually pay to get access to these sort of opportunities within that virtual space. What is the economic impact? It's increased interest in investment in technology on the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Long-term growth in tech-related jobs here, and also look at our tourism brand, cultural tourism. Introducing Vinci Mass and the culture to an untapped market. And of course, using Vinci Mass as a leading-edge technology platform where we can really promote our industry and really promote what our culture and our creatives have been doing across the world. What is the cost implication? It's really the production cost becomes less burdensome on the creatives, but also the revenue generating capacity is there for them to earn significant incomes, because we're talking about easily selling costumes 10 times the price that you normally sell them for local, because of it's in an augmented and virtual space.
James further noted that a metaverse carnival is not designed to target locals and Vincentian nationals in the diaspora, but a much wider audience. He said since the discussion started of the metaverse possibility, he has had a number of individuals and business entities, including large corporations, reaching out to him, excited about the idea and ready to get on board.
That the virtual experience is not designed for you, the persons who are attending Vinci Mass. It's not even designed for Vincentians living in the diaspora, because we want them to come home. We want persons to go out and enjoy and spend the dollar and benefit the persons on the vendors. Yes. So we're not saying that essentially you will have to purchase a VR set or an AR set, or even log in online from your tablet at home to view a soca monarch or to play in a costume band. No, we're not saying that. This is really designed, or will be designed, for people as far as Estonia, Japan, Spain, or Alaska. People who are in Alaska and viewing and being a part of the Vinci Mass experience. And that is what it is. Tapping into a market which a lot of potential is there to really take St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a product and as a brand, and Vinci Mass as a cultural experience to the rest of the world. That is essentially what we're looking at. It's not that we're targeting Vincentians to say, come into the metaverse. No. We want you to go out on the street and have your usual carnival and enjoy yourself. And that's essentially what it is.
When asked about Vinci Mass 2022, Minister James says that it is possible, and it is very possible, and that the only thing that might prevent the festival from taking place would be another COVID-19 spike or the presence of a new and deadlier variant.
There's a strong possibility of a Vinci Mass 2022. The only thing that is going to prevent that is really at that stage is having a spike in the COVID-19 pandemic. the emergence of a new variant that is even far more dangerous than what we have, and health considerations. Of course, we are very much looking at the possibility of it. By next week, I will let CDC come to the public and host a press briefing to indicate whether or not they have been granted such an approval.
89 police officers within the local constabulary, including the SVG Coast Guard and Fire Service, were promoted last Thursday to various ranks, including the post of Assistant Commissioner of Police. This is according to Police Commissioner Colin John, who congratulated the officers while speaking on NBC Radio last evening on the Police on the Beat program. The commissioner said hard work paid off for the officers.
I just want to thank them for their hard work and dedication to the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines. The whole adjustment hard work brings success. It is not as if some of the persons who were not promoted, they were not working hard, but limited vacancies and limited positions. So hence, not everyone will be promoted at the same time. So I just want to encourage those who were not promoted at the last promotion to continue to work hard, continue to show the metal that you are made of, and continue to serve the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines with professionalism.
Public Relations Officer of the RSVG Police Force, Sergeant Cornelius Ross, listed some of the officers who were promoted.
And just to highlight the top rank of these persons that were promoted, we have Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Enville Williams, Superintendent of Police, Mr. David Trumpet, and Mr. Hannes Simon. Assistant Superintendent of Police, Mr. Dwayne Bailey and Mr. Parnell Brown. Inspectors of Police, we have Mr. Clifton Jacobs and Mr. Alson Rodney. And in the Coast Guard, we have Sub-Lieutenant Mr. Donald Harry.
And Commissioner of Police Colin John commended his officers for performing well under difficult times last year. He said one difficulty was the COVID-19 pandemic, which posed a challenge to manpower and human resource, but work was not interrupted.
We started out with the increased cases of the COVID virus. The Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force, we were affected. A number of persons among our staff was affected by the COVID virus, and persons had to stay away from the job. We also had to enforce the COVID protocol in terms of ensuring that persons adhere to the quarantine at the time, that they stayed indoors and avoid the spread. That was the protocol that was in place at the time.
Commissioner John said the volcanic eruption was also difficult as some officers were displaced. However, various means were used to keep the officers motivated to work.
During the volcanic eruption, several police officers were also displaced. But very rare would you have realized that they were displaced. They were willing to put the interests of the nation and their job before themselves. We had several police officers from Chateaubelair, Fancy, Owea, Petit Bodel, Rose Hall, and although some of them were in shelters or some other accommodation away from their homes, they put in 100%. We as an organization, we assisted as far as possible. We ensured that they were looked at after. We received several donations from local bodies, from regional bodies, from international bodies.
The Owea man who was brought before the Serious Offences Court on Monday in connection with 3.6 kilos of cocaine he allegedly had in his possession at his home wants to change his plea. On Monday, Rodney Thomas pleaded not guilty on the charge that on Saturday, January 22nd at Owia, he had in his possession a controlled drug, to wit 3,623 grams of cocaine with intent to supply to another. He also pleaded not guilty to a charge that he had the drug in his possession for the purpose of drug trafficking. SVG-TV News understands that due to logistics and other mechanisms in place, the change in plea could not take place today, despite arguments by his new legal counsel, Grant Connell. The Chief Magistrate, Rayshan Brown, told the court that the exhibits were not present and the investigating and arresting officers were also absent. Hence, the court could not accommodate the change in plea. On Monday, Thomas was granted bail in the sum of $30,000 EC with one surety. His uncle, Raphael Batiste, signed for his surety of a house and land. Thomas's passport, driver's license, and ID card were also submitted to the court. Raphael Batiste was informed by the magistrate that he is now responsible for his nephew, and if they can't find his nephew, the police will be coming to him. The relieved Thomas, who sat in court with folded arms for most of today's court proceedings, looked up and could not hold back the tears. His next court appearance will be on Thursday, January 27th, when he can change his plea. The charges against Thomas reportedly stem from a wider police operation in Owia on the weekend, where it has also been reported that at least 54 kilograms of cocaine were discovered in a locked room in the Owia clinic. And police have arrested and charged Hanif Forbes, a 40-year-old mason of Spring Village, Georgetown, with the offenses of murder and assault. On Friday, January 21st, the accused allegedly caused the death of Joshua Cabbage Pompey, a 40-year-old truck driver of O'Brien's Valley, Georgetown. The deceased's body was found in his vehicle in O'Brien's Valley, with what appeared to be a single gunshot wound to the head. Forbes was also charged with assaulting a 34-year-old female auxiliary police officer of O'Brien's Valley, Georgetown, by punching her in the face and causing actual bodily harm. The accused appeared before the serious offences court for arraignment and was remanded in custody.